Hello everyone and welcome to a very nice game from round 3 of this year's Sharjah Masters. You guys requested it as soon as it finished and for very good reasons. It's a very short game and it shows that even though sometimes we can play a game like Grandmasters do, although not as often, sometimes Grandmasters play a game like we do. And you guys were probably expecting the game from board 1. Pragnananda is playing Women's World Champion Juvenjun, but that game ended in a draw fairly quickly. Okay, not as quickly as this one ended, but fairly quickly, and wasn't really an exciting game. It was pretty much a snooze fest. So they played excellent chess, but it's not something to enjoy. That being said, let's check out this one. It is Lucas van Foreest versus Harsha Bharathakoti. Let's see what happened in this one, as Lucas has the white pieces and he opens with e4. We have c5 by Harsha, going for the Sicilian defense, and now c3, the Alapin variation, and usually d5 will be played here, and it's a very standard way. And you know, when you teach children chess, you tell them, okay, when c3 is played, the c3 square is no longer it's no longer possible to occupy the c3 square with the knight, so you don't mind playing d5, and then if captures, let's say queen captures, you don't have knight to c3, and your queen can stay on d5 for the moment, so you don't have to worry about wasting early tempi. But here we have knight to f6. It's also a very nice line, but it runs into a very forced variation. So pawn to e5, knight to d5, we have pawn to d4, captures, and now pawn to d6. Sometimes pawn to e6 is played first, but both moves will be played. Knight to f3, we have e6, and bishop to c4. So this has all been seen before many times. Bishop to e7, both players castle, and now queen to e2. We have d captures on e5. This is now a fairly rare move. Usually just b6 and you continue development, or a6 or knight to d7, but capturing on e5 this early is quite rare. We have d captures on e5, and now bishop to d7. Rook to d1, nicely aligning the rook with the queen on d8, and the bishop to c6 now. And interestingly, there is a game from 2019 Youth World Championship, where Pragnananda played also this position with the black pieces. He played it against Vyacheslav Zarubitsky, and Prague, in that game, Zarubitsky played bishop to d2. Prague won a very nice game. But here we have knight to d4, deviating from that game, and also knight to d4 is the top move recommended by the engine. So I don't know if Lucas is still in his preparation here. Or not, but okay, bishop to c5, and now comes knight captures on c6. Here, it seems I've checked how you should play this. It seems like it's sorry, not that, fairly equal line. Let's say knight to c3, queen to b6. Now you don't have to worry about knight to a4, as the bishop is guarding that, and now the knight on d4 is hanging. Let's say queen g4, now defending and also preparing bishop to h6, and now you would want to get the white queen away from the defense of the knight. And okay, let's say queen to h4, knight to d7, you continue development, and now everything gets traded off. Bishop captures, he captures, knight b3 attacks the bishop. You don't have to worry about f2, that's nicely guarded. Now d4, knight captures on c5, queen captures, and now grabbing the pawn with rook captures on e5, and black wins the pawn back with queen or knight captures on e5. So everything gets traded down. Black has this, expansion on the king side with his h-pawn march forward, but, you know, everything should be okay. At some point, maybe even queen g5 offering a queen trade. Maybe white wants to go for the attack. So this is how the variation should be played. But in the game, we have knight captures on c6, and this now tends to complicate matters a little bit. We have knight captures on c6, bishop to d2, and now bishop to d4. And okay, bishop to d2 was played with the idea of countering the bishop to d4 move with bishop to c3. So bishop captures on c3, and now you have to play knight captures on c3. You absolutely have to play this, and then it's sort of okay. Knight captures on c3. Knight captures, now the queen is hanging with check, so you do not have the option of playing rook captures on d8, so you'd have to play b captures on c3. Now the queen moves, and now something like f4, you get this position where black will always be better. It's okay, white has this very nice expansion here. He controls e6, he controls f6. He might even try and get the rooks into the game, but it's very hard to imagine that this becomes possible. Rook is coming to d8, and then black is just perfectly fine. If anything, this will be a weakness, and white does have the isolated a and c pawns if the position trades down into an endgame. But instead, he didn't go for knight captures on c3. Lucas went for a Zwischenzug. He played the in-between bishop captures on d5, and this completely blunders the game for a very specific reason. So feel free to pause the video and try to figure out why this is so while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on realizing that the only one defending that b2 pawn is the queen. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight to d4. This is what Harsha Bharathakoti played, and it was in this position on move 16 that Lucas van Foreest resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. The queen is hanging, and all of these squares are taken by the bishop and by the knight. So if you move the queen, let's say, then just bishop captures on b2, and you don't have a good reply to this. You could even try to complicate a little bit. Let's say bishop captures, rook attacks bishop, bishop goes back somewhere. Let's say bishop e4. You can even attack the h7 pawn. But the problem is that after bishop captures on a1, there's just nothing for white here. Even if you play bishop captures on h7, king h8, you don't have queen to h3. It might even be okay if you had queen h3, but here it just runs into this very nice knight to e2 check, and that's it. You get checkmated on the next move, regardless of what you play. So that's kind of the issue. And another thing, after knight to d4, even if you don't play queen to d3, you might think, okay, let's give up the exchange. We could continue the game at least. Not really. There's no counterplay. For example, after bishop captures, you will see some like bishop to f3, getting the bishop to safety. Now queen b6, putting more pressure on the b2 pawn, and after the knight defends, you just bring more firepower to the c3 knight. The knight cannot move, you cannot defend, or you could try to defend. You could play rook to c1, then rook to c5, then the e5 pawn hangs, and the white will just be more down more and more material. And I mean, there's no point in continuing. There's nothing to hold on to. So it's just a terrible blunder. And after knight to d4, the best thing you can do is resign and maybe save your energy for the next day. So yeah, like I said, sometimes you guys will play like a grandmaster, but sometimes the grandmaster makes a mistake that you guys would make, and it's normal because it seems that nowadays in modern times that these mistakes happen more often than they did, let's say, 20 years ago. But it's just that today so much chess is being played. There are so many tournaments going on simultaneously in the world. So many games are being played, and of course more blunders will occur. And since we people are like that, we usually like to hone in on those blunders and enjoy them. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of games still being played in the Sharjah Masters. If you guys have a favorite, do use #suggestion. I will go over your suggestion, and if I think that others will enjoy your suggestion, I will show that game. So yeah, thank you for watching. I would like to thank David Kimura, Blake Terano, Petr Marinov, AMD Risen Enthusiast Group, and golfsoftware.com for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this wonderful tournament and checking up on your wonderful suggestions, as they are usually quite wonderful. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.